Grace is leaving Jamaica. Good evening, I'm Mike Nasa with this 11 p.m. update on the tropics. On this Tuesday night, we are tracking two systems over water. We have Tropical Storm Grace leaving Jamaica here, on track for Mexico as a hurricane, it looks like. And then we have Tropical Storm Henri south of Bermuda, also forecast to loop around Bermuda and become a hurricane as well, although that one will likely not impact land directly. You can see what's left of Fred here moving through the Appalachians and Ohio River Valley. Very muggy, moist tropical air, but we're not going to have to deal with Fred anymore after that. Here's the latest on Grace. As of 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Tropical Storm Grace was at 18.4 north, 79.2 west, winds of 60, so it's now a mid-range tropical storm, and it looks like the environment is very favorable for continued strengthening. It's moving west at 14. That ridge of high pressure to the north is going to steer it, that clockwise ridge is going to steer it straight west, right into the Yucatan Peninsula. The pressure has been dropping down to 1,000 millibars, and it is forecast to become a hurricane, and for that reason, we have a hurricane warning for the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico from Cancun to Punta Herrero, including Cozumel, and a hurricane watch for the Cayman Islands, just in case this thing becomes a hurricane as it crosses those islands, or at least buffets them. We also have a tropical storm warning in effect for Jamaica, the southern coastline of Cuba, and the provinces of Granma, Las Tunas, as well as the Cayman Islands and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico from north of Cancun to Dzilam. And we also have a tropical storm warning for the Yucatan from south of Punta Herrero to Punta Costa Maya. Okay? So there's a lot of tropical storm warnings and hurricane watches, hurricane warnings. We also have a tropical storm watch there for the southern coastline of Cuba, Ciego de Avila, Sancti, Spiritus, Cienfuegos, Matanzas, and Pinar del Rio, as well as the Isle of Youth, and the north and west coast of the Yucatan from west of Dzilam to Campeche is under this tropical storm watch. Now, we'll likely see hurricane watches go up here along the mainland Mexico coast, because once it crosses the Yucatan, Grace is expected to become a hurricane, and maybe even a stronger hurricane by the time it moves over the Bay of Campeche here in the very hot Gulf of Mexico. Here's the satellite imagery, and you can see Grace a little ragged, still getting a little bit of shear there, but it's improving. The center is right in there, right on left Jamaica. You can see it there where I just circled. That's where the center is, and it does look like once it totally clears Jamaica and moves over the Caymans and these very deep, hot waters, this is some of the richest fuel source for hurricanes in the entire Atlantic, south of Cuba. We will see intensification. The wind shear, as I mentioned, you still have some from the north, which is why it's a little bit ragged right now, but the environment appears to be very, very favorable. You can see low wind shear on this map even better. Look at that. When you get these blues and blacks, this is very, very favorable. So Grace should have a good upper level environment, to say nothing of the boiling Western Caribbean waters. The key messages as of 11 p.m. Tuesday night for Grace. Number one, hurricane conditions and a dangerous storm surge are expected over the hurricane warning area in the Yucatan Peninsula beginning late Wednesday night. Number two, heavy rainfall across Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and the Yucatan that could cause flash and urban flooding, mudslides possible still in Jamaica. And number three, the tropical storm conditions are expected over portions of Jamaica for a few more hours and over the Caymans later tonight and Wednesday. Hurricane conditions possible in the Caymans Wednesday morning. Again, tropical storm conditions expected to spread westward from the southern coastline of Cuba all the way through Wednesday night. Again, everybody needs to be on alert. This is going to be a potent hurricane, at least 80, 90 mile per hour Cat 1 when it roars into Mexico. Then we go out south of Bermuda. Here's Henri. Henri, as of, this is actually the 8 p.m. advisory. Let me update this here. There you go. 11 p.m. advisory. You can see Henri was at 30.0 north, 65.1 west. Winds were 65. It's stronger than Grace. And it's moving west-southwest at 8 miles per hour. There's high pressure steering that as well. And it's going to continue to push west-southwest, then west, and then loop around as this troughiness, partially associated with what's left of Fred, erodes the ridge of high pressure and allows Henri to slip out. However, we do have that tropical storm watch for the island of Bermuda. High swells, high surf, to say nothing of possible rip currents off the east coast when we see Henri pull away. It is forecast to become a hurricane, including, like Grace, 90 miles per hour. By the time Saturday and Sunday rolls around, it should be in a very good environment as it starts to accelerate here towards the northeast. So it's going to become a hurricane, but the good news is Henri should probably stay away from land. There's the satellite. You can see every time it tries to wrap up an eye, it gets sheared. You see these winds blowing here, shearing it from the north. However, you could see that the system's trying. So I have a feeling once this shear lets up and the system loops around, we will see it intensify quickly into a powerful Category 1 hurricane. There's Bermuda sitting right here, little island in the middle of nowhere, but you guys do get impacted a lot by storms. There's the radar, and you can see as I put that into motion, the center right in here. It tried to form a mid-level eye and kind of degraded, but some of these rain bands are just off the coastline of Bermuda, and so it's definitely not a day to be out in the water because Henri is kicking stuff up. Here's a beautiful satellite imagery of both our storms. You can see there's Grace trying to fan out here, and as Fred leaves, the shear will let up, and you can see the fanning out here towards the west. That's the direction Grace is going to go. So we're talking over the next 24 to 48 hours, somewhere like that. So if you are in Cozumel, Cancun, even further south, Chetumal, even northern Belize, you want to keep an eye on it. And then after that, it'll probably do something like that. So Tampico, Veracruz, you guys on the west coast of mainland Mexico, the eastern side of mainland Mexico here, are going to want to keep tabs to these updates as what will be Hurricane Grace approaches. You can see there's Henri south of Bermuda. Again, our two systems, Grace and Henri. The next name, the ice storm. We've had many, many iconic ice storms in the last decade or so. Isidore, Isabel, Ivan, Irene, Irma. The next name is Ida. And so we'll wait and see if anything happens over the next couple of weeks. It probably will as hurricane season 2021 heats up even more. Finally, Hurricane Linda, we've been tracking it, the donut out in the eastern Pacific. It's back up to a Category 3, started to look really good again, but look at it is way out there, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of miles from Mexico and hundreds and thousands of miles from Hawaii, spinning out there all alone, Hurricane Linda. A beautiful Category 3 hurricane, gonna spin right out and then fall apart. That's it for the tropics. I'm Mike Naso. Stay tuned for the latest on Grace as it strengthens in the Caribbean and heads towards Mexico. Hurricane warnings out for the Yucatan.